Hi, my name is Lori Alexander, and I want to talk about women not being created by God to be in the workforce. When I was in my early 20s, I was a school teacher, and I got married, and then I continued to teach. I was going to teach. My husband wanted me to continue to teach until I had my second baby. I knew I wanted to be home with my children, but we thought we needed the money, and it was what I was supposed to do. But my husband said I could be home after I had my second baby. So I got pregnant and continued to teach in a very high stress area where the school was, sixth graders, and I miscarried that baby. And then recently I found out that women in the workforce have twice the stress-related diseases than men do: heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. We weren't created for that stress. Those years of working while I was pregnant were the most stressful years of my life. It was absolutely miserable. I didn't feel like I was a good wife, a good mother, or a good teacher. I was sick for the whole entire first 4 months and exhausted when I came home. I would just lay on the couch and not be able to do anything once I got home. I couldn't be the wife that God called me to be. When I had my second child and I was still working, I left her all day. This is one of the biggest regrets of my life, is not being with her for the first 2 years of her life. I was too exhausted to do much with her when I wasn't around, and I missed all of her big milestones. So it was, from my own experience, I can tell you, women, that we were not created for the workforce. Men have 10 times the testosterone than women do. When I was substituting in a Christian school, and I was sitting in the teacher's lounge one day in the afternoon when the school was over, and the women were just dragging in. They were exhausted. The men would come in singing and full of energy, They have the energy for the workforce. And even women who do work and are married and have children, they know their responsibility is at home. They know their responsibility is the housework and the childcare. And that's why it causes so much contention in the marriage, because men are not naturally keepers at home or nurturers like women are. So there's that conflict about, well, I did this, you do that, And so it just harms marriages. It harms children, because children aren't with their mothers all day long. And then also, since women have left the homes, depression has skyrocketed in women. It depletes your immune system for women, and they just, in every single aspect, we're not created for the workforce. We are created to be home, in the home, working in and around the home, from the home. God never commands that we go out and into the workforce and make money. He never commands we raise our daughters to do that. We are to be wives, mothers, and homemakers. Even for women who don't have children but are married, they should be home, taking care of their husbands and their homes, needs of those around them, helping in the church and the nursery, doing whatever they can to make other people's lives easier. Our culture has missed out dramatically since women have left their homes. And then if they're not married, and their lives should revolve around homemaking, child raising, working in and from the home, but not be in the workforce. Like even nurses, they have 12-hour shifts. They're gone 13 to 14 hours a day away from their home. They're exhausted when they come home. It burns out their adrenals. Teachers, like I was, I was with 30 children in a class. Even if you have 10 or 20, it's still, you're on your feet all day. You're trying to maintain order in the class. You're coming up with new ideas all the time, trying to keep the children occupied instead of being home with your own children on your timetable, resting if you need to rest, eating when you need to rest. And when you're sick and pregnant, you need to be home. And when your children are sick, You're always available for them. My mom was always available for me, for my sisters and I, and it was such a huge blessing. I always knew that. If I was sick, when I had a hard day, she would comfort me and encourage me. And even in high school, I would come home and want to tell her everything. I would have loved being homeschooled by her and just being home. I, even as a child, just wanted to be home. I didn't want to be out in the public school system and be exposed to what I was exposed to and all the bullying and stuff. We were created for the home. There's just no doubt about it. God is very clear in his word. All of the Proverbs 31 women's work was in and around the home. Everything was hard labor back then. There's no way that she could have left her home for hours every day and be in the workforce. No, they had to make all their fabric from scratch and sew from, they didn't have sewing machines and factories. They just, everything was hard work back then. It's not as hard for us now, and the problem with all the modern conveniences is it's made, and birth control and daycare and public school, they've all catered to women leaving their homes, being out of their homes, being in the workforce. This isn't God's plan, women. It's Satan's plan. It's his plan to destroy the family, marriages, children, and nations. God's plan is to build the homes up, thus the churches, the nations, it all stems from that. I believe that women's place is absolutely, no doubt, in the home. Studies prove that. God commands it. Who are we to question it? Bye-bye.